Now this video has been highly requested in my comment section, and I'm finally here to deliver some F1 2021 wheel settings. Now yesterday I done a video with my camera settings as well, which was super highly requested, so I'll leave that video linked up in the top right, so go check that one out if you haven't done so already. But guys, if you're going to enjoy the video and you want more tips and tricks, then leave a like on this one, subscribe for more because I've got more tips and tricks content lined up, and yeah, let's jump into it. Now first and foremost, I want to address the elephant in the room. So I play on PC, I use a Thrustmaster TSPC Racer open wheel, which is, as you can see here, it's kind of resembling the shape of an actual kind of wheel, which is quite short and wide. I also use the Thrustmaster TLCM load cell pedals. That's just for reference. Again, I play on PC, and on screen right now you're going to have my actual wheel software / Thrustmaster control panel wheel settings, as you can see right here. So take a screenshot of those, write those down. I believe they're default. All you've got to do is make sure you're using 360 degrees rotation in game, because 360 on this software is what the hands are in game. So essentially, if your wheel's like this, it's going to match up in game exactly the same. I know there's some people who use 300 or 270 as well, especially the esports guys. I think they use slightly less because it's a bit more competitive. Me personally, I can't really drive that. The car's a bit too much on edge. I need the 360 for a bit of stability and control. So yeah, for me 360 is the way to go, and you're one-to-one with the wheel in game that way, so it makes a lot more sense. But now let's move in game for the in-game settings. So here we are then in the garage of the Mercedes team at Silverstone. Now you're going to press the pause button and make your way to the settings, and now we've got, of course, the new menus this year. So you need to go 3 clicks, or 2 clicks actually, to the right to controls, vibration and force feedback. Then, as you can see, we've got a load of presets and generic settings. Now I've got my own custom one here. This is my wheel, the Thrustmaster TSPC, but of course, depending on your wheel, guys, you can pick whatever that may be. So obviously the game has detected that I'm using a Thrustmaster wheel, so they're giving me all these Thrustmaster presets. But if you use a Fanatec or a Logitech, you'll have your own ones. And what I do recommend is doing is clicking on one of the presets, and then you click edit and modify it. So obviously I've got my one made, so let's talk about it. So I've got all the buttons assigned. This is my personal preference. Everyone can assign buttons how they want. I'm not going to go into that in this video. But we then move into calibration. So for me personally, I've had the same thing over the last 2 or 3 F1 games. I don't really have the need to change anything. I'm very happy with my Thrustmaster wheel and how it behaves, and also my pedals in terms of what they offer me. Now, one thing I have done with my pedals, I did it on F1 2020 when I was getting used to the load cell. I actually used 1% dead zone, and also on the linearity on the saturation I used 5%. So let me explain the reason for this. I'm not doing it right now because I've gotten used to it in my pedals now. I don't need it anymore, but I did it first because load cell basically is a very, very stiff brake pedal, and it would make my chair move back. So I wasn't really used to the force and how to do it. Now with the dead zone, what happens is I tend to rest my foot on the brake. So sometimes I actually found myself just slightly pressing that brake pedal a little bit, just natural force by leaning on it. So having 1% brake dead zone can be a good thing. Eventually I got out of the habit and I stopped doing it, so I can now run it on 0. But I do recommend, if you've got a bit of a lazy foot, it might be worth having brake dead zone on 1 and also throttle dead zone on 1 as well. Essentially, as the name indicates, it creates a slight dead zone where no matter what movement happens, nothing's going to trigger or register in game. So that could be worth looking at as a potential setting. And then for me, brake saturation, I had it on 5% because I was really struggling with the force of the load cell to get it all the way down. So by increasing the saturation, it makes the brake more sensitive, and it gives you a bit more in the early phase, so I don't necessarily have to go all the way down with the brake. So this was a good setting for me when I was getting used to load cell. Obviously now I don't need it, I've kind of got used to it now, so for me everything goes on 0. Now this is where things get interesting, and this is where I think you can really make things your own. These are my force feedback settings. So first and foremost, vibration and force feedback on, that goes without saying. If you have it off, there's no point having a wheel. Vibration and force feedback strength, I've got that on 125. I like a heavy wheel. I like the sensation of, you know, feeling everything through the forces of the steering wheel. So for me, it's a must. If you don't like a heavy wheel but you want to still feel some feedback, just knock it down to like 100. That should do the trick for you. On-track effects. Now these three, rumble strip effects and off-track effects, these are a bit more less accurate. So the reason for this is because I tend to live commentate my videos like I am right now, and I don't want too many wheel noises kind of disturbing and creating too much background noise. So I run these quite low, but I run 25 on-track effects, which is marbles, sliding, and the feeling of the tarmac. Rumble strip is the curbs, you know, the red and white things on the outside of the track, or maybe the AstroTurf, or, you know, those kind of elongated curbs they have nowadays, those serrated curbs. And then the off-track effects is grass, gravel, and tarmac off-track. So I run these 25, 15, 15 pretty low. I don't want any disturbances through my wheel. I want to keep things quite quiet. Had I not recorded videos for a living, then I would probably run them a bit higher. I'd probably say like 35, 30, 30 in that range. Wheel damper, this is an interesting setting. I still never feel like I've got this fully right to my liking, but it gives you basically a bit of weight on the wheel. So when the force feedback isn't working through the corners and you're just kind of turning the wheel on the straight, for example, this is going to give you a bit of weight to the wheel, so it feels like you're actually turning something. When you've got it on zero, I find like the wheel's too light. I don't like it. There's nothing really going on. I need a little bit of weight just to feel like I'm driving something. The more you go on this, the heavier the wheel's going to get, and the more of a workout you're going to get. People seem to have a misconception that the force feedback strength is the one that kind of makes you feel tired, and it's not the case. This is giving you just a bit of sensation. The one that makes you feel really tired and makes your arms heavy is wheel damper. If you crank this up to 100, it's going to be super slow. The wheel's going to be so hard to turn and not enjoyable. So for me, it has to be low, it has to be light, but also enough of a feeling where I can feel a bit of weight in the car. And then the crucial feature here, understeer enhance. This is crucial, critical, and paramount. For me, this has to be on. This basically gives you an indication of when the understeer starts to kick in. So when you're turning the wheel, there is a point where the car's at the limit. If you go past that, you're going to start to feel the wheel go light, and that's what understeer enhance does. So you've got full feedback, it's going, and then you hit the point where the car is on the limit of grip. Once you keep turning, if you keep going past that, the force feedback goes away and the wheel goes really light. And that's kind of a sign that you're just pushing too much and you're going past the limit. So this is a good way for me to know when the car is right on that edge of, you know, maximum performance, trying to get everything out of the car. So for me, this is really important, and I can't recommend this enough. These are the settings that I run. To be fair, generally my settings haven't varied much over the last 2, 3, 4 years now. Codemasters have been pretty consistent, at least with my wheel, to giving me some pretty decent settings, so I don't have to change much, and hopefully you find them helpful. But anyway guys, that's going to be it from me here today. Once again, I'll plug the previous video, which was camera settings. I'll leave that linked up in the top right, so go check that one out again, because I get a lot of people asking me about that. So I want to stress that those videos are important for people, so go check that one out if you haven't done so already. And yeah, feel free in the comments down below, guys, to let me know other things you want to see in terms of tips and tricks, you know, what things you'd like to know. I am going to be working on setups soon. It does take a while to get around to doing all those, so I do ask for a bit of time on that one. But besides that, that is it from this video here today, guys. So if you enjoyed it and you found the tutorial informative, then leave a like, subscribe for more tips and tricks, guys, and more videos like this on the channel. And as always, hopefully you enjoy the content that's coming out regarding F1 2021. And finally, check out the 2 videos on screen if you have missed them. But that's it from me here today, and I'll see you guys next time.